This is it, the long-awaited Ford Nation. I got an advance copy last night and stayed up all till the wee hours reading it. I've read every page. Doug Ford promised a few months ago that this was going to blow the lid off the establishment, that it was going to, you're laughing, it was going to call people out, name names, be scandalous. You were even going to take on the Prime Minister.
I've taken him on a few times, but that's all right.
I didn't find that anywhere here in these pages. What happened? Were you just giving us a good sales job?
No. Why would I want to give the media a good sales job? Because that's what I truly believe. I did want to go after a few people, but on second thought, you sit down, you talk to your family, and my mother's instrumental in a lot of things, like any parent would. And she said, Doug, take a different avenue. It's not worth it. Why get involved in going after these people? They aren't worth it. So
you said when you announced this book that your brother Rob Ford was instrumental in helping write it.
Yes. Up to the point
on his deathbed.
Up to the point he just couldn't do it any longer.
But I don't see any of, like, I see excerpts from interviews. Yeah. I don't see any actual words from
physical
him.
writings. Well, he sat down with Rob and we discussed a lot of things, and he says you're better at putting words to paper than I am. So that's it. But he was glad it was coming out.
There are some really touching moments. I mean, you describe
it's tough.
Him dying. That must have been difficult to write.
Terrible. Rob had a terrible death, and anyone can appreciate that have seen a loved one pass away because of cancer, and it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Wouldn't want to wish that on my worst enemy.
You also talk about how it wasn't drugs that were his demons, it was alcohol.
No, 100% it was alcohol. Alcohol led into sometimes the drug use, and alcohol, I call it the devil's juice. It's the most popular, legal drug out there that have ruined more families, killed more people, broken up more marriages, caused families to break up. Anything in moderation is fine. I don't drink, but I have booze at my house. Friends come over, we have a good time, but drinking continuously, and it's not healthy for anyone.
You take on the media in this book, the established media that was the left wing, that but you don't really name names. But listen, I was one of those reporters covering this story.
Yeah, how did I start liking you?
I don't think you do.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding. Do you also feel that your brother bore some responsibility for this fractured relationship and maintaining a lie for many months?
Yeah, well, I said that. I was pretty transparent. I was pretty tough on Rob in that book, to be honest with you. And I was pretty clear.
I didn't find you that tough on him.
Well, I did. I was tough on him. I was even tougher in person. Rob and I got in a lot of disagreements, but I loved him more than anything, and we had a close bond. And anyone with a sibling, close sibling, you have disagreements. That was tough for our family. But I always saw the good in Rob. I always saw the good, what he did for people. And the good outweighed his addiction tenfold, 1,000-fold. And I always say, Cynthia, he did more good, even with a couple shots of scotch underneath his belt, than 44 counselors did combined.
You call him a populist politician.
No, 100%.
We're seeing south of the border another populist politician, Donald Trump, who you even acknowledged to me before the election you thought he was a lousy candidate, even though you liked some of his policies. Yeah. Is there a danger with populist politicians who are really good at the sound bites, who know how to talk to people, and who can sort of find that common voice in the everyday voter? Is there a danger that there isn't substance there?
No, not at all. There's lots of substance. You look at Rob's agenda. You were down there.
I'm talking Donald Trump. I'm talking in general. Do we need to be aware of a populist politician?
No, not at all. Because there's a lot of people out there, the average person, that could relate to Donald Trump. I didn't agree with everything he said. I'm glad he won.
Are you?
100% I'm glad he won. Compared to crooked Hillary, you have the Clintons. Well, we went through this a few weeks ago.
Yes,
I'm not going to rehash it. But he's the president. Give him a chance. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he lowers taxes to businesses. Let's see if he gets rid of Obamacare, because I know Obamacare is killing our company and killing a lot of companies and killing our employees. The cost is staggering down in the U.S. for this health care.
You mentioned past and present mayors.
Yes.
David Miller. You speak actually very highly of David Miller, and
really like
not
David.
so highly of John Tory.
Well, I really like David Miller. He came out and he said he governed as a lefty. He's a lefty. He governed as a lefty. You got to respect that. I totally disagree with his policies, and we had to correct them all. But as a person, he was a great guy, and very grateful he came by to visit Rob. And I know Rob was very grateful, and he liked David, even though they might have disagreed on policies. He liked him.
And you call John Tory, which you've said in the past, you call him a ditherer.
Yeah.
Is this
Yes.
book
Yes.
essentially, though, I mean, some people would call it a vanity project. Others would say that, if you look at a lot of politicians, Justin Trudeau, Thomas Mulcair, Olivia Chow, they all wrote books just before they launched a political campaign. Is that what this is? Or is this a
this was a year
precursor
ago.
to
No.
Doug Ford either
No.
running federally, municipally, or eventually? Are you going to
but
run for mayor again?
I might, but I don't need the book. Rob and I talked about this, more than a year ago. It took a long time to put this book together. So I can assure you, Rob and I didn't sit down and say, there's a big political plan. Like I say in the book, everyone has this misnomer that the Fords have this big political agenda, and we sit down and there's a big plan on a big blackboard. It doesn't happen. I jumped into politics spur of the moment. I wasn't going into politics, and then overnight I was jumping into politics. So, things change quickly in politics.
You said that this book was going to set the record straight. What do you feel set the record straight in this book?
Well, I think everyone wants to talk about Rob's addiction. We all know the addiction. I called it out in the book. But he had a career, 14 years of serving the people. That there wasn't an addiction. He helped so many people, thousands, more than any politician in that span of period anywhere in this country.
But you've
door to
said
door.
this in the past. What's new in here that you would like readers to know, that what you feel is setting the record straight?
Well, there's so many different things in there. I could pick out chapter by chapter. There's a lot. We decided we're going to talk about how we were raised. People don't know the values that the Fords hold closest to their heart and were taught by my mother and my father. There's so many different things that we put in there that I've never said publicly. The fact that Rob would always tell me, Jones, I'm kicking the bucket early. He had this intuition that he was leaving Earth early. I don't know why, but he always used to say that. There's quite a few different things that people find very interesting.
What didn't you say in this book that you wanted to say?
Oh, I can't tell you that. There's so many different things. That's not the first copy. You should see the transcripts. They're the juicy ones. Well, I'll tell you.
Because I feel like you edited a
I
lot
did.
of stuff
I
out
did.
of this.
100%
So what's
I
the
edited
value
a lot.
in
the value?
the
It's a
read?
great read. I think it's a great read. People that number one, part of Ford Nation. There's hundreds of thousands of people that support us, and I think it's going to go to a great cause. We're going to donate the money to different charities.
All the money goes to charity?
Yeah, and one being the Ford Panoff Foundation. I call it the mouse trial. But Rob fell a couple weeks short, but a wide variety of charities. I get calls every day. Can you donate this? Can you donate that? So I think it's going to help out quite a few different groups.
When can we expect an announcement from you on what you're doing next politically?
Will you be my campaign manager?
No. No.
Okay, well, you're going to have to be communications director then. So what I'll do is probably in the next 6 months or a year, we'll decide which way I'm going.
All right. Doug, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Okay.